Now next is very important theorem, which is a Cauchy-Gorest theorem. So before going to that theorem, so first we will do the Gorest lemma. So what is the Gorest lemma? So statement of Gorest lemma. If I am taking, this is a Gorest lemma. So it is very important result that is used in the Cauchy-Gorest theorem. So what is Gorest lemma? So just given epsilon greater than 0. If given epsilon greater than 0, it is possible to divide the region C is some region. It is possible to divide the region C into finite number of meshes, either complete square or a partial square. Either complete square, so that is denoted by Cn, or partial square, so that is denoted by Dn. So square is represented by Cn and partial square is represented by Dn. So this is represented as Cn and Dn such that there exists a point Z0 within each meshes either square or partial square, for which absolute value f of z minus f of z0 over z minus z0 minus f dash z0 less than epsilon for every z in meshes, for every z in meshes and the function fz, where the function fz is analytic, where the function fz is analytic. So the statement of this lemma is that we can divide a region at which function is analytic into meshes, either it is square or partial square, which satisfy equation number 1. So that is my A. Now suppose in two-dimensional space, suppose this is some region. Suppose this is a some region C. So this is a region C, suppose. Now this is a two-dimensional space. So in the two-dimensional space, origin x-axis and y-axis. This is the origin x-axis as well as y-axis. Now we divide this region into square and partial square, into meshes. So this can be written in this form. This can be this form. This can be this form. And again this can be so just again so this basically this touch the line, so I just write it again. So this is, first I remove this part and then this part. So this is of this and this is straight line going upward. So this is of this kind. Now if I write in this way, so this is in this type. So again of this and this. So this region C is divided into partial square. So these are the square, this, and at this end point, this and this part, all of these are partial square. So that is given. So this is a C region which is divided into meshes. So if we take it as this direction of square, that is a clockwise direction. So remember this figure. Now to prove this result, suppose the lemma is not true. Suppose this lemma is not true. If this lemma is not true, then equation 1 is not satisfied for at least one mesh. It implies equation 1 is not satisfied for at least one mesh, right? So at least for one mesh, so one mesh, right? Now suppose equation 1 is not satisfied. If lemma is not true, then equation 1 is not satisfied. So suppose it is not satisfied for this mesh, for this square. If it is not satisfied for C, so it is not satisfied for one mesh. Suppose that mesh is this, so it is not satisfied for this square. So again subdivide that part in same way. So again we subdivide that part in the same way, means into square or partial square. So it means, it implies, if that condition is not, again subdivide, again subdivide that part in same way. So what we get? We get two conditions. Number one, the process comes to end after finite number of steps when equation 1 is satisfied. So after going to this result, we get two conclusions. Conclusion number 1 and conclusion number 2. So this is, so first conclusion, this process comes to end after finite number of steps when equation 1 is satisfied. So we continue that process, and after finite number of 1 is satisfied. And second, the process may go on indefinitely. The process may go on indefinite. So there are two ways: either equation 1 is satisfied after finite number of steps, or process go to indefinitely. So in the second step, the process go to indefinitely. Now from this step, when the process go to indefinitely, we obtained a sequence of squares each contained in previous one, contained in previous one, right? So we get a sequence of square or each contained in previous one, which has Z0, is its limit point, which has Z0 its limit point at which which condition 1 is not satisfied. Condition 1 is not satisfied at Z0, at Z0, at which condition 1 is not satisfied at Z0. So we get this conclusion. It implies f of z minus f of z0 over z minus z0 minus f dash z0. This is not less than epsilon for every z minus z0 less than delta. So it implies, so clearly this function fz is not analytic. This function fz is, it implies f of z is not differentiable at z equal to z0. So it is not differentiable at z equal to z0. So it implies f of z is not analytic at z0. So it implies function fz is not analytic. So which is our contradiction? Which is contradiction? Which is contradiction? Our supposition is wrong. If our supposition is wrong, which is contradiction, our supposition is wrong. Our supposition is wrong. Our supposition is wrong. If our supposition is wrong, then means the given lemma is true. So hence lemma is true. Hence equation number 1 is true or lemma is true. So I just revise once again. So what is the statement of the Cauchy-Gorest lemma? So we divide this region. We divide this region into square and partial square. So square are denoted by Cn, partial square are denoted by Dn. Suppose lemma is not satisfied. If lemma is not satisfied, it means it is not satisfied for one mesh. Suppose that mesh is square. Suppose if it is not satisfied, then it is not satisfied for one mesh. So again we subdivide this in same number. Again we subdivide in same way. Then we have two possibilities. Possibility number 1, the process come to end after finite number of steps when equation 1 is satisfied. Then it means this is a contradiction, because the equation 1 is not satisfied, that we suppose that the equation 1 is not satisfied. So this is a contradiction. Now second, process may go on indefinitely. If the process go on indefinitely, in that case we obtain a sequence of squares, each contained in previous one, which has z0 is its limit point, at which condition 1 is not satisfied. So here condition 1 is satisfied, here condition 1 is not satisfied. If not satisfied, then it implies this not less than equal to epsilon. Since z0 is limit point, so modulus of z minus z0 less than delta is some positive number. It implies fz is not differentiable at z equal to z0, and similarly fz is not analytic. Similarly, it implies fz is not analytic, so which is contradiction. Hence our supposition is wrong. If our supposition is wrong, then the lemma is true. If lemma is true, then we prove the given lemma. Now from this lemma, so just remember the result from this lemma, that is also called corollary. So what is that result? That result is, suppose from the lemma, we write f of z minus fz0 over z minus z0 minus f dash z0, if I write it as neta z function. So this is a neta z function. Then by lemma neta z, where neta z is less than epsilon. So this is by previous lemma, and neta z approaches to 0 as z approaches to z0, It means from this, so just see that what we conclude f of z can be written as f of z0, this is f of z0 plus z minus z0 neta z, and again plus z minus z0 f dash z0, this value. So in this way we can write these values. So remember the value of fz, where neta z approaches to 0 as z approaches to z0. So this is our result. I repeat once again, by Cauchy-Gorest lemma, what we get? We get f of z, which is equal to z minus z0 neta z plus f of z0 plus z minus z0 f dash z0, where neta z approaches to 0 as z approaches to z0. So this is a Gorest lemma. That lemma we will apply in the main theorem, which is called a Cauchy-Gorest theorems. So that we will do in the